These are going to be the side rails or the beams of the ladder. I want to round off the top. We're going to hang the ladder rails up over the loft by about 3 feet, so we have handles, basically a handrail getting on and off the ladder. And at the top of that, I want a nice rounded edge. So just grab some kind of radius that'll work. I'm using this roll of tape. I'm going to jigsaw this around, and then we'll sand it, and then we'll lay this on our other one and trace it so they're both the same. I have a makeshift battle station set up here in the backyard, and I'll go over the basics of the ladder design. So we were just at the lumber yard. We picked out our 12-foot ladder rail stock. Some beautiful clear vertical grain, 5/4 by 4. This is a full 1 inch thick by 3.5 inches wide. One thing we want to pay particular attention to when we're lining out and managing our material is that the crown in the ladder, we want that to be out. So as we load the ladder, we go against the crown. We never want to put the sag in, because the more weight we put on the ladder, the more that's going to exaggerate. And we're gonna sand it. So this is just an 80 grit paper, and we're trying to take any saw marks out of this. We'll do our final sanding, knock down all of our knife edges after our dado cuts are done. This is just our rough cut, getting everything ready. We're going to be handling these ladder rails often, setting them up inside, getting our slot cut, and also putting our rungs together. So it would not be efficient to sand it now. 20 degrees is going to be our magic number. That's going to be the cut on the bottom of the ladder, and it's also going to be the cut for our dado where our rungs will go in. You can think of this as vertical. We're at a 20-degree shoe angle, and that's going to give us a nice comfortable climbing angle. If our ladder is too steep, it's going to be hard to climb, and if it's too flat, it's going to put too much load on the rungs. This is literally the only part of the process that you have to do right. There's no room for error if you want the sliding mechanism to work. So I set it up here at our climbing angle. I'm making sure that our 20-degree angle down on the floor is flat, and then I'm going to trace this 1/2 inch by 90-degree pipe bend, and then I'm gonna slide this up against the wall where this will stow, and that represents the bottom of our notch. And then I'll just connect the dots and we'll cut that out, and that is the trick to allow this ladder to slide up against the wall and stow, and then slide out and not be able to ever kick out, because our 1/2 inch rod goes all the way through the ladder rails. And there is the rough detail. I do recommend starting with a really sharp, preferably a brand new jigsaw blade. You can see that we got this thing heated up, turning those 1 inch radiuses on clear vertical grain fur is hard on the blade. You can also choose to drill these with, say, a Forstner bit, but I like to just use the jigsaw. So now we're gonna go inside and we're gonna set this up, and we're gonna actually put the bar through it and confirm that it works. We're only doing one side at a time, because once we get this perfect, we just trace it to the other rail of the ladder. I'm pretty confident that this cut is gonna work because I've built dozens of these, but this is the process to check it. So I run the bar through, and then I'll take our flange here, thread this elbow on, and then I'm gonna just tack it back into place using some 3-inch grabber screws here. And now we can confirm our climbing angle. I can see that our 20-degree cut is very flat and consistent with the floor. You can see now that this ladder will never slide out because it's locked in with this bar. Now that we've confirmed that this slot cut is appropriate, we're gonna trace it to the other side, and then we'll dado in all of our climbing rungs. This is some 60 grit paper that I roll up to get some of these burn marks out of the slide slot here. This is the barn cabin ADU. We don't want to go overboard. I'm not trying to design a piano. The idea is it's kind of rustic. This is a rustic-like barn loft ladder. If you're a furniture maker, you're probably throwing rocks at the screen right now, but feel free to do this with a drill press and more high-end tools and get it exactly how you like it. This is just what I do. I can build this whole ladder in about an hour. That's kind of the explanation of my quality control on this project. Now I'm gonna lay out our treads. The top tread is gonna be level with the loft floor, and then from there I'm gonna measure down 1 foot. So each rung is gonna be 1 foot apart. So every foot on the tape, I make a mark and an X. That X is gonna be the slot that we dado out that our rung slides into. We're gonna end up with 9 steps. I like them a foot apart because it's gonna be easy to climb. And this is easier to do if you clamp the boards together. You can see every foot we have our mark. One step of the process that is a little bit technical. We have to have either a dado blade set up on a panel saw or a table saw, or what I'm using is a depth gauge on my chop saw, and then I have a false fence here where I can get a full depth cut of the radius blade. We're just dadoing in about 3/8 of an inch, and what that's going to let us do is lock in these rungs with pin nails and glue, and they'll never be able to pop out. So we don't want to overcut this. This is only a 1 inch thick piece of material. So I like to go about 1/3 of the way into it for our dado, and then I'm just gonna dado these out, slide it down, dado these out. So this process is gonna take about 20 minutes, just a lot of cutting with the kerf of my blade. Check it with our practice piece, and there we have it. This is one of our 2 sides that has all the dado cuts as well as the slide cut completed. Now we have all of our rungs pounded into place with all of our glue. I'm gonna go through every single rung and put 2-inch brad nails on each side. I also want to make sure that we square everything up. I can do that by measuring angle to angle, also using a square. And then I'm gonna wipe down all of the excess glue with a wet rag, and then we'll sand this and we'll take it inside, and it's ready to be installed after we put a couple of coats of sealant on it. Use whatever you prefer. I like a water base. I don't sand it too fine because a little bit of traction on the treads is nice for grip. Now that we're inside, we just ran the 1/2-inch steel rod through both slots and threaded the elbow back on and screwed the flange to the piece of trim. Our ladder rests perfectly in a plumb position, so it stows away from the wall, and pull out to a nice climbing angle that won't kick out on us. That's how we do our down and dirty custom loft ladders for our ADUs. I hope it helps. Thanks. Feel free to like and subscribe.